Thank you guys for jumping on here. Even those of you watching the recording and the replay of this inside the Facebook group. I try to do these at least once a week where we're connecting with people so that you can make sure you're up to speed on different things. Typically, I go through a couple minutes worth of housekeeping. So if you're watching the replay, you can fast forward. But we always have new people attending these things, both live and recorded. So it's important that we respect the fact that everybody has to be a new person at some time in their lives on here. So what I want to do is I'm going to give you guys some quick housekeeping. Then I have Kauri Thompson is going to join me on here for some things. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll jump right into this and we'll be good. And you guys see my PowerPoint? Give me a thumbs up. All right, cool. Actually, I don't want to see my power. I got to make sure I mute everybody first. Sorry, I forgot to do that. I'm usually pretty good at that, but I forgot. Participants, mute all. All right, now we're good. And now I just got to share my screen. All right. And now you can see my screen again. So we're good. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. All right. So welcome to the Team Zoom. Basically, in case you didn't know, Mike Healy here, in case there's some new people watching the video. I've only been in this company about 90 days. I think that's about it. The majority of us are all brand new. So we're getting up to speed on everything. I'm going to ask Kauri some questions when he gets on about, kind of where the company is and what we're doing with international expansion. This is going to be kind of this Zoom. It's going to be a little bigger as far as like the size of what this thing is going to be than what you're normally used to seeing me. Usually I do these things. We do trainings and stuff like that on here. But let me go through a few things. And new people, and if you sign somebody up that's new, make sure you send them to myreptraining.com. They click on the Start Here tab, because that's how we get everybody up to speed on everything as quick as possible. They'll see a thing on that same tab to sign up for our email list. And when they go there, they can pick a button that kind of gets them started, shows them what to do, how to get started. And then the other thing is this is the team text updates. You want to make sure your team is always part of these text updates, because you can get these. I can put information out, because as the group grows and, guest speakers come out, or I hear something from new things, this is going to be kind of like our emergency broadcast system in a way. And I try not to overwhelm everybody. Obviously, I usually only send out maybe 2 a week at the most at the moment. Okay. But that's going to probably eventually change as we get some stuff going. Inside Papa Drop, this is where we have all of our team stuff. And this is the team site. It's for people that are in the business already. And I put this video in here this morning. In case you haven't seen this, Kauri Thompson, my sponsor, who was, I think last month or the month before, was the #4 money earner in the entire world in the company. And he's only been in this thing about 7-8 months now, which is insane. Did a fantastic job with explaining the compensation plan. And you can go in there. This is a YouTube video from his channel. I posted in there. So when you click on it, it'll take you to his YouTube and watch it. I like sometimes having stuff on YouTube, because you can basically go through on there. Okay. Thanks, Kauri. I got your note. I got your text. I know you're on here. So that's cool. Now, inside that group, if you're new, if you haven't seen these, there's a new corporate video coming out. I think you're going to love to see that one. Kauri did a great training out in Vegas when we had the launch, as well as there was a panel of networkers. And I think these are great videos that you tag your new people in. Okay. I think it's very good that you can do this. So if I was to prioritize a couple things, make sure you have your new people tagged on these videos so they see it. Next thing is anybody that you're talking to about the business. Obviously, the product is what most people are going to be led with or leading with, are the experiences of these products. Okay. Go Life is what we call the ATM kind of platform, meaning you add somebody to this group, you tag them in a post, you message them, that kind of thing. Even though ATM says, that's the name of it, because everybody thinks of an ATM machine spitting out money. I do a lot of these in reverse. I usually message somebody asking permission to add them with the A. So M first, A later. But Matt doesn't sound good. No one would have to want to do the Matt system. So ATM sounds more money. So you add somebody, you tag them, and you message them. If you ever need help on that, always reach out. Okay. Ask for help. The next thing, kind of the last part of the housekeeping, is make sure you emphasize the significance of getting people in your group as a part of the rapid funnel system. This is how we're building this thing. This is what's working. It allows people to get some content that you don't have to be the expert. You are just the messenger. You're not the message. You get the information to them. They get on it. They download the app onto their phone. They can literally set up a new account. This is important right here. In case you don't remember this, write this down, put it where you remember, do a screenshot. Go Team is where they would put the group code in when they join our team. Okay, if you're part of my team, we use Go Team, which was set up by Kauri. So you're getting more specific Kauri type stuff that's in here, and we'll, and eventually probably I'll have some stuff in there myself, that kind of thing. Okay, this process of setting it up is absolutely simple, and it walks somebody through it. And once somebody set this up, what's nice is it actually will show that person, the new person, how to set up their first couple contacts, what to do. They push the buttons. If at any time you have questions yourself, or your new person, just tell them to click on the more button with the 3 dots at the bottom right. It'll open up. Tell them to click on coaching. And then inside there, you've got the rapid funnel trainings, which have a handful of the different things that they can learn. And above that, you see it says APL Go Start Here. There's some really good videos in there by like Tina Malsom and her husband, Dr. Aaron and her husband. I can't, on top of my head, I'm flaking on the names on them, but they do a great job. And there's some great trainings in there that would get you up to speed and understanding that. Okay, now this one's become confusing, and I finally made the right slides for this. Is whenever you're talking to somebody or yourself, when you're trying to go in and make an order, usually you'll go to your link. Everybody probably knows what you know what your own URL is, where it's set up and so on. And you click on login, and what typically happens is it should take you to this page, right? So it should take you potentially to this page. Then you log in. But here's what I want to point out. It looks like, and I should be logged into my back office, but but this page looks exactly like this page, correct? So if somebody says, yeah, I logged in, and then you're trying to explain where stuff is, they're looking at this one in more cases than not. Ask them, do they see a orange button that says back office? If they do, then they click on that and it takes them into the back office. So does that make sense? Everybody give me a nod. Okay, perfect. All right. Now inside your back office, a couple real quick things is if you go to auto ship and then online store to put in your orders. Auto ship just means you're going to get the same product on the same day every single month. Activity just means it's similar to auto ship, except you're picking your own products and you only need 40 PV per month to stay active, keep your spot, that kind of thing in the back office. Most people, especially initially, will have another button right here called status. Status is where you can upgrade and you build your rank as far as your status level of what you earn commissions on. And Kauri covers that in that training of how important it is to do that. So just make sure that if you do that, you go in and you click on the increments that add to yours. So if you're on a $400, you want to go in and do like the 1,800 to 3,000, and you move your way up and you click on the status. Once you've hit the diamond, that status button disappears. As you can see in my back office, I don't have it. The other thing also is you'll notice you see my name at the top here. Any new people, a lot of times they want to know where their affiliate link is. There's 2 ways to find it. You can click this little drop down arrow and it will show you all your stats, your rank, your volumes, and things like that in your back office. As well as if you go down here to the bottom left and click on account details and you open that up, you'll be able to see where it says affiliate site and you can make adjustments. So I just forgot to have pointed that out a couple of times, and I'm glad I remembered it. So just remember that, okay? And then at any time you wonder if you're qualified for your commissions for next month, all you got to do is go into your back office on the main page. You'll see some things. Any updates the company has, you'll see these in highlighted down here. You click on them, it'll expand. But anytime you have red no's here, you want to get that accomplished. And if you're curious about something, you can usually click on it. If it's a red no, it'll say tell you what you need to do, what your qualification is. So if you've moved up in rank and you don't realize it, and you say, what do I have to do to get to my next month's order to be active, qualified? It'll click on there and it'll tell you, hey, you need a $40 order, or you need a 60 or 100 or $200 order, and you'll be good to go. Okay. Last thing is in the back office. At any time, if you get on a products page, you just click on the picture. If you want to know what each product is, or you want to get there, I save links once I open them. A lot of times I bookmark them on my thing in case somebody says, well, what's in the super kit? What's in the diamond kit? I don't have to go through all these steps to log in. I go there, click on that button. It takes me to this page, and then I save the URL for that. Okay. Try to stay organized the best you can, whether it's putting all these things on a PDF where the links are highlighted. Send yourself an email with these things, update them. That's what I do to keep myself up to speed. And, when somebody asks a question, you want to be organized. You want to know that they want, you don't want to, if somebody says, well, how's the comp plan work? You go, well, that's a great question. I think there's a video about it. I'm not sure where it's at. Let me call my sponsor. That person's not going to sign up with you, right? I'm just telling you how it is. People join leadership. So if somebody asks me a question, I tell them, I say, look, I don't know the answer to that because I haven't memorized it yet, but I have a link to the PDF of the products. What I will do is I will text it to you right now, or I'll email it to you. Oh, Lisa, you're in on my rapid funnel. I have it saved in my rapid funnel. Let me text it to you right now. Like, I do stuff in real time, and people appreciate that. They go, wow, they're on it. So when somebody asks questions, you should have answers immediately. Like, hey, I'd love to see the company PowerPoint. If you don't have the link ready to go to give that person a link, the PowerPoint, that's on you. Okay. I'm just telling you how it is. People are looking for professionals in this thing. Okay. So I just wanted to go through, in case this is business for home. I pointed this out to you guys last week when we did it, about the samples, that the number one immune boosting product in the world, according to Business for Home and all of the stuff that was listed on there, were actually the drops by APL Grow specifically, which is insane that this is something we have the ability to offer. Okay. And I wanted to give you guys a quick update. Oops, I pushed the wrong button here. I wanted to give you guys a quick update. You saw last week where I told you that I was sending out samples, and this is what it was. I was texting people this message. If you want to screenshot the message I sent to people, I would send them an image with these products. I had like 25 people respond to get free product. You don't have to send them a full box if your budget doesn't allow it. I personally did, because I wanted them to see the product. I wanted to see them the packaging. I wanted to see them the entire experience of it. And I've sponsored a handful of people already from this that enrolled from this sample thing. Okay. And I've got a handful more that are still texting me saying, hey, because when I sent it to them in the packages, I just sent the packages, and I said, hey, when you get the package, so inside there was a sticky note that said, text me when you're, when you get this. And I have had every single person texted me when they got it, or majority, as I keep trickling in, as they're getting these packages, and I'm then adding them immediately to the rapid funnel. Well, most of them, I don't know their name, their first and last name, and their number, so I don't recognize it. So what I do is I text back, awesome, exclamation point. Thanks for letting me know. By the way, who is this? First and last name, please. LOL. And I send that to them, and they always reply back immediately after that, and it would say Lisa Smith. And I say, and then I go, great, thanks. And under that, I say, if you don't mind, I'm going to text you a couple things real quick, so you know exactly what's in the product, how it works, and a little bit more about the company and why it's doing, why we're so excited about it. And then I send them that. Then I add that person. So I take Lisa Smith and I go in and I manually add her into the Rapid Funnel app. So I've now added Lisa Smith into the Rapid Funnel app. I then click on and show her what I was going to send her. I usually send, right now, I've been sending everybody the DNA drop interview that Kauri did with Dr. Lorette because it's just that phone recording. It's kind of cool. It's got subtitles below it and stuff. So I send that to the person about the product. And I already have that link into my rapid funnel. So I just click on personal, and then I scroll down and I see rapid funnel, or I see DNA drop explanation. And I click it and I send it to them. I already have pre-written text in there and it goes to the person. Then the next thing I do is I talk about the company. I've now show them the video that's under company, opportunity, and I scroll down and I look for sizzle video because it's 3.5 minutes long, but it shows a lot of energy and a lot of faces and a lot about the product in a 3.5 minute window. Okay. The importance of this is, and then what I do with that one, since it's already got pre-written text that the rapid funnel app has in it, what I do then is I always put my cursor right after their name. So if it's Lisa, after the comma below that, I say, this is the 3.5 minute video. I tell them how long it is of the company, period. By the way, this company is doing $100 million a year in sales. They're 9 years old. They've been doing it out of Russia and parts of Europe, period. I think this makes for an incredible opportunity, exclamation point. Thanks. And then whatever was already automatically texted in there, it's like, let's discuss or whatever. And I just leave all that and I click send. And because of that, I've had people respond, from that. Like I had a guy respond and say, this looks incredible. This is something I've been looking for. You probably didn't know it, but I just left my company, that kind of thing. And boom, if that person responds with that, I text them back and then I'm on the phone. Okay. So it's just a simple process of what I'm doing on here with these types of things. Okay. So all that being said, there was housekeeping as fast as I could get it in there. Oh, I see a few more new people jumped on here. Awesome. Hold on. My dad's trying to call me. Nope, dad doesn't. You guys get priority over dad right now, but we won't tell him that. So it's all good. So Kauri Thompson, I need you to unmute yourself, buddy. You unmuted? I think you are, yeah.
Good morning.
Say hi to me. Morning. So I woke Kauri up to get him on here and stuff like that. But I want to talk to you guys. I want to ask Kauri a few questions. And Kauri, I'm not going to keep you on here forever because I know that you've been extremely busy recently. But I want to give everybody kind of a bigger picture, okay, of overview and what's going on. I think everybody on here has seen some of the calls that we've done, you and I, and the interviews and stuff like that. But I want to, because I don't think a lot of you guys understand where this company is going to be in probably 6 months to a year. And Kauri's got firsthand knowledge of this because one, Kauri's helped companies launch internationally for many years. That's why I listened to what he says in the first place, because, I obviously trust him and like him, but that kind of thing I knew on a different level. But there are some other countries opening up that you may have people or contacts ready to go in those countries and so on. So Kauri, say hi to the team here. Appreciate you jumping on here early in the morning for you.
Hey, good morning, Mike. Well, thanks for having me. I've been doing this for so many years and I still get time zones mixed up. I woke up thinking it was at 10 o'clock and I looked at my phone and came on, but it's great to be on with you guys. I love joining your calls and great. Matt's a good housekeeping update. So many good items.
I'm going to pick on you. Kauri got the time zone so bad yesterday that I got an alert that he was already on the Zoom yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, like in the early
I laughed.
days.
I'm like, what are you talking? He goes, where is everybody? I go, what are you talking about? And I was like, oh my gosh, did I forget an important thing? And then, because I know you get a ton of stuff out there, so that was funny. So I didn't mean to pick on you, but
no, my wife corrects me all the time. I feel like a mad scientist. Mike, you brought up something that is absolutely true. This company's starting to shift. I was out to dinner last night with my wife, and I said, Jenny, I feel like we're starting to really start getting into momentum. We've been in pre-launch and whisper launch for about 8 months now. And I really feel it internally, just with the communications that I've had. This company is starting to shift. A lot of people are starting to find out about us. And I've heard other companies say that over the years, but when you have a comp plan that pays out 63% and products that do what ours does, you can't keep it secret for too long. And there are a lot of people who looked at the company early and said, well, maybe I'll see what's going on. It's starting to happen. This morning I woke up to a couple of texts from international people saying, we've been watching your company, and are these leaders working with you? So the word's getting out, but I can feel it. It's one of those things where you do something and you just like feel the company starting to shift. It's really exciting.
Hey, along those lines, and you and I, we've talked to some pretty big leaders internationally already. You've helped me with those calls and stuff. Um, the reason that you guys, I think it's important for a lot of you guys to hear this, that I wanted to kind of give you some stuff that you might not normally hear, besides if you were privately at a big meeting and things like that, is that this should give you more confidence in what we have our hands on, because of the level of people that we're attracting that are now asking the right questions and are joining. Like Kauri, we're not going to obviously give names because a lot of these people are out there doing stuff currently with companies and things. But the level of caliber of people that you've talked to, how has that been kind of starting to shift as well? I mean, I know you've gotten some good people in here, and I'm not putting anybody down. Please don't take that the wrong way. But you have to remember that some of these people make millions of dollars in network marketing because they take their leadership, their abilities, their what they dedicate their business to a completely different level, so they can address and look at stuff quicker. So that's kind of where I'm going with that, Kauri.
Yeah, it's a great point. So the first thing I like to point out is that every single big player started somewhere. And the way you get to be a really big player, in my opinion, is you have to pick the right company. The big players that do really well, they don't pick bad companies. They pick good companies where they're able to get on the map and be able to do what they do. Because nobody's going to follow you if you consistently pick bad companies. And I think everybody knows that. So picking the right company is number one. Number two is picking the right partners. And I do want to throw in something, Mike. I hope you don't mind. I've always wanted to work with Mike. I have not worked with Mike and Stacy for many years. So whenever I look at companies, I'm like, okay, do you think Mike would come in? I always ask myself this at the back of my head because I like, know, and trust Mike and Stacy. The thing that maybe to describe it is what I call the push-pull theory. The push-pull theory is basically this. When you're trying to push something in the very beginning and people aren't familiar with what you have, you feel like you're pushing it out to everyone. Like, hey, Chris, I've got this opportunity. I got this product line. I want to tell you about it. I'm just keep pushing, and pushing becomes very difficult. And it can be, unless you're a real somebody that loves no's like I do. You just next and no. But at a certain point, the company begins to pull. And when that happens, people start coming to you instead of you coming to companies. So one of the most important things is to publicly align yourself with APL Go. There are a lot of what we call secret agents. People who say, look, I want to make a great income. I've got these business goals, but they don't ever tell any of their friends, family, or close circle. And what ends up happening is that they're trying to build a business outside of their normal influential sphere. And it's really hard to do that. And so I've always thought, if you want to grow this business, you've got to dive into your internal network. You've got to let them know that you're working the business. You've got to go public. If you don't go public, people really have a hard time believing that you're going to grow a big business, or you're kind of holding back. So my point is I've always believed in going public and getting it out there. But one thing that you'll notice, there's a saying that I love: competition drives the market. There are right now a lot more people talking about APL Go than just a handful. And it's not a huge group yet because they're still really small. But as this continues, as more and more people start talking about it, that back noise is going to get to a lot of networkers and a lot of people that sooner or later. They're going to go, well, Mike was talking to me about this company. He's got good posture. He's really well organized. I love what you said, Mike. And all of a sudden, they start contacting you. And it does happen at a certain point. So go public, really important. Remember to be organized, as Mike said. Get your stuff together. Get your organization, your presentations together. And like Mike said earlier, it's starting to pull now, and I can feel it because I'm starting to see the change. When Mike showed the Go Life image with our Facebook group, there were 3.8 thousand people on it. Right now, there's 5.1, right? And that he took that screenshot not long ago, so you can see the amount of growth that we're having we're starting to pull.
Hey, I want to, you brought something up great that I think is something we need to address is so I know a lot of people are attracted to me in the space because I do so much online stuff, right? And I understand the fear of people a lot of times that they're like, well, I got to learn how Mike does it. So I never have to talk to my friends and family. Right. And I hear nobody will listen to me, the NFL club, a lot. Right. But I'm just going to tell you this is what Kauri said just a minute ago is you can't be a secret agent. And I want you to always remember this is you never prejudge people and you can never tell the duds and the studs, the zeros and the heroes. And you may have approached the same person 6 times with 6 different opportunities over the last 6 years, right? But you don't know where that person is at in their life today. You don't know what their hot buttons are. Okay. What happens and why people have a fear, in my opinion, of talking to people is putting too much emphasis on themselves instead of being just the messenger, instead of the trying to be the message. That's what happens is people don't have, it's easier now because Kauri and I can do these things because, we have earned the right to have credibility and influence. So conversations obviously become easier. But if you're new or you haven't had that big success yet, you never just put the emphasis on yourself. You put the emphasis on the leadership or the tools and things like that. And when I learned that, it totally changed my business. Because when I first started networking, I remember I would wear a shirt, a shirt and tie around, and and then I thought that I had to be this. And people were like, I looked like a weirdo kind of because they didn't, I was trying to be give the presentation to the person. And they're like, what are you doing? You don't even know what you're talking about. And I was like, oh, I was all dejected. But then I finally realized that I needed to point to the experts, point to the tools, and use the systems. And the message itself did the work for me. And then all I had to do is plug people into stuff. So Kauri, you didn't obviously start out, rocking and rolling. Give us some examples of kind of what I just covered as to why you think it's important for people to be talking to people that they know.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things is belief. If you believe in what you're doing, it's easier to talk to people that you know, and your internal circle is really a litmus test for where you're at. I find that a couple of things people learn through the process of networking is understand what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, and capitalize on your strengths and correct your weaknesses. For one thing, being polite, that goes a long way. If people don't want to talk to you, maybe you're not a nice person or polite. Number two is tell the truth. I've always believed that truth has its own frequency. And so when I talk to people, I tend to be really down to earth and really vulnerable, if that makes sense. I tell people that our company isn't perfect, but it's really, really good. And we don't need perfect. And one of the things that Mike was talking about is always getting ready to get ready. And there's a saying that perfect is the enemy of good, or good. Yeah, perfect is the enemy of good. And you don't need to be perfect. So there's never a point when you're ready to make that call and you're going to have it all down completely. You just have to go through the process of being vulnerable and telling people I'm new at this, but here's what I know. I'm working 50 hours a week and I'm tired of it. I don't know about you, but I want something different. And I've done some research. My research says this is a good opportunity. What do you think? Tell me if I'm crazy. That's a really good lead in to how you talk to people. I used to look at scripts, you buy those scripts and you read them. Hi, Mrs. Jones, how are you today? And they blow. They're horrible because I'm not being myself. So what I would encourage is every one of you, you have friends for a reason. They like you. So be yourself, but be vulnerable. Don't have ego and go, we made all this money, or Mike Healy's, I'm working with Mike. I don't know that people care that you're working with Mike or I. I wouldn't care. I'd be like, what's in it for me? So if I'm you, I'm looking at my friends and I'm saying, why do they like me? They like me because I'm me. And be yourself when you share why you're doing the business. To me, that's the most important thing of doing the business, and keep it short. Nobody likes people to talk for 2 hours. If you're calling people and they don't pick up, do you have a habit of carrying on conversations for 30 minutes? I say, Chris, is this a good time? I've got 2 minutes. I want to ask you something. That's a real honest approach. Chris is look and keep your word. After 2 minutes, you're out. Always leave them looking for more. So my approach, Mike, is simple because I'm myself. I'm flawed in a lot of sense. I don't think I'm the smoothest presenter, but guess what? It works for me because I'm being myself, and people know that I'm not going to drag on, and I'm going to get right to the point. But they know I'm going to be honest about my approach. And Mike, if you don't mind me sharing this, every one of us has had financial issues. Doesn't matter if they're big leaders or small leaders. We've all been broke. We've all looked out the window for the repo guy looking at our car. Okay, we've gone through that. The foreclosure mortgages. We all know the pain, and it'd be disingenuous to always put ourselves as here when the fact is we've been in this is a very difficult industry to be full time in. You have to be really good at what you do, be full time, or you have to find a really good company early and get on board. So we're talking from a sense of, man, we paid our dues in a sense, and now we want to help other people. And it's not as hard as you think if you follow some simple rules.
Okay, we're gonna go to the next thing. So that's kind of introduction stuff. I want to tell you guys, I think a tip that Kauri's gonna back me up on and explain is when you're having a conversation with, let's talk about actual human communication tips. Okay. When I do three ways with Kauri, it's in most cases it's because you can always, the stranger is always the expert no matter what, right? But so you guys put me on the phone with somebody that you have that's curious, whatever. And you got to remember too, I think a lot of people don't do three ways because they think they're wasting their upline's time when it's the wrong way to look at it. Because I don't care if a guy gets in or girl gets in or not. When I put Kauri on the phone, the purpose for me to do that is, one, I like that. But the most important thing is I get to hear the story again, and I get to follow what Kauri does. Kauri, how important is it during conversations to ask questions and listen?
Yeah, so in the beginning, I made this mistake, Mike, of what we call throwing up on people, getting my message out without listening to them. And I found a couple of things that I learned over the years why it doesn't work. Number one is that if you're going and talking to other networkers in other businesses, if you're trying to talk to a network marketer, unless you ask them to empty the tank first, they're always going to be thinking about what they're going to tell you. They're not going to pay attention to your message. So when I get on board with networkers, I'll say, hey, Chris, how's it going? Tell me how things are going with your company. And I never tell them that their company's bad or it's a terrible company, because if I do that, I just told them they make bad decisions and they're not going to like me or want to stay on the phone with me. So I'm always complimentary of their efforts and their companies. And I always say something like, man, that's a great company you're involved with. I can see why you went with that company. I've got something I want to throw at you. Not sure if you're open or not, but to me, it's important. So if you just give me a couple of minutes, I want to ask you a couple of questions and get into it. And so you always want to form people. Form means family, occupation, recreation, and motivation. And you don't have to go through the list. I catch people forming me sometimes where they're asking me the F question, the R question, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting formed, But you can do it in a way that's spontaneous, and the way you get good at it is just to be natural. Allow yourself to make mistakes. Don't act like it's an interview, and just have fun with it. That's the main thing. So asking questions is really big because it can save you a ton of time, and it can get you to where you need to go immediately, instead of being on the phone for 30 minutes and them getting frustrated with you and not telling you they're frustrated with you, but that happens.
Absolutely. And the other thing that I do, I know Kauri does it too, is when he said have them empty the tank, especially somebody that's had past experience in networking, is it's so critical, because if you get them to empty their tank, you'll hear through just what they're talking about their hot buttons on how you're going to ask different questions. The other thing I noticed that I do, and I know Kauri does, is we've learned how to compliment people on their success. because everybody likes to get their ego stroked, right? Everybody likes to know that they're important. And I don't care what level somebody's at. If somebody says, yeah, I was in a company, I was in it for 2 years, but I didn't really make any money. I'm like, well, sorry to hear that, but I want to congratulate you on the fact that you stuck it out for 2 years. And I'm sure you learned some amazing things. You know what I mean? Like a turn it around from a negative to a positive, and you get somebody thinking something positive. They're like, well, yeah, I met some good people, I made some new friends and stuff like that. It'll open up the conversation to be so much easier that if you learn that, if you don't know how to do it, get the book Listening for Success by I think it's Shapiro or something like that. It's only like this big. It's like this thin, right? Listening for Success. I think it's on audio as well that you can do. So, Kauri, we covered some of that stuff. I wanted to circle back to the company. Um, how do you see, or where do you see this thing going? Probably in the next 6 months to a year, from what we've already got going.
So that real simply, it's going to go big. It's going to be a big company, and it's going to be a very big global company. Sergey's put in all the work and all the infrastructure to grow all the global markets, and we're really smart about how we do this. We To open a market, it's really expensive, right? And if you listen to every networker, you go broke opening all the markets where they say there are a lot of people in. But Sergey has a system of how he looks at markets, how he evaluates the cost structure in getting into the markets, then evaluating the talent or the leadership group in markets. Um, right now, when I got in, I think I mentioned this, when Sergey called me back in May of last year, I was like, I didn't know who he was. I was like, okay, I'll listen to you. Da, 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 da. When I looked at business for home, our momentum rank was 127. Today it's 18. We're the 18th ranked company in the world in momentum. And that's exciting. It's really, really exciting. Mike showed you grow as the number one immune product in the world because of if you just think, in my opinion, kind of common sense, we have a product that tastes better than any other product out there. We have a product that is well priced, probably priced better than any product point out there. We have a product that has new science that does some pretty amazing things with a very small milligram count because of the technology and how we do it. We have a delivery system that's so unique to pop a drop, to have like a lifesaver that you stick in your mouth that's going to release botanicals and DNA into your system is pretty unique and pretty revolutionary. And there's a global market for our products. I love the fact that we're not selling like one keto product, like a keto drink that most of the market doesn't know about, care about, or can afford. And I'm talking globally. Every one of the 15 products or industries that we represent, there's already a worldwide demand for those. So we don't have to have this incredible science story about scuba diving in South Africa and bumping into this certain chemical under the sea or botanical. We don't have to do any of that. Why? Because our product's already in demand. Do you know anybody who needs energy? Do you know anybody with blood glucose level issues? Do you know anybody with heart health issues? Do you know anybody with allergies? It's so versatile and it's so simple that it's starting to make waves. And as the foreign markets see these products and then taste them, can I tell you, Mike, can I tell a really quick story?
No, you're done. I'm done to listen to you.
Because I really want to tell this story.
Of course, you could tell us the stories.
Okay, so there's a gold ambassador, the highest ranked person in our company. Her name is Evangenia. And I want to tell you her story really quickly because I just learned it. And I'm actually writing an article for her for Business for Home because the Russians don't know how to write in English. So she sends me all this stuff, right? I'm reading her story and I'm absolutely amazing. You're going to be the first to hear it. Evangenia was working as the bag lady. When I mean that, if you ever gone to an outdoor market where people sell fruits and vegetables and gifts, in the Ukraine, there's a city called Yata in the Ukraine. It's in Crimea. Okay, so think about Crimea being annexed by Putin many years ago. It's a really tough environment. There's an outdoor market where people are selling fruits and vegetables. What Evangenia did was she had a business where she sold the plastic bags. So her business was going in these markets and selling plastic bags to vendors. And She was so poor, she had to take her family with her into the market because she couldn't afford them to have a sitter. So imagine this bag lady walking with this shopping cart full of plastic bags to sell to vendors. That's our number one earner in APO Go. So let me go on with the story. She's going to the marketplace. The last stop of the day was a corner market vendor. She went into the vendor and she had all her boxes of plastic bags. And he said, I'm no longer interested in buying bags from you. I'm no longer doing this business. I found a business where you don't need to do any selling. And he gave her a phone number and a meeting location, and it was a network marketing company. She went to the company. She said, when she went to the meeting, she said, I was amazed at the meeting because I saw a room full of happy people. In fact, she said, I saw a hall. The Russians don't say rooms, they say halls. And it was full of happy people. And I noticed that they were congratulating each other and that they were supporting each other. And I wasn't used to seeing happy people. Then she said a couple of people were talking about the checks that they were earning. She said it seemed like a fantasy to me that they're earning these sort of checks. And I went home and I didn't ask why. I asked how. How are they doing this? So she started to change how she thought. She started to think about how she can get from here to here. She skipped through the why and the buts, and she went directly to the hows, and she started focusing and she started making goals because these checks were so crazy. So just so you know, when I worked in Siberia, the average income for somebody in Siberia is 70 US dollars a month. If you think you're poor and your friends are broke, go to Siberia. And the reason why I love this company came from Russia. Here's the biggest advantage that people don't talk about. Industrialized countries where network marketing companies start have a major flaw. The reason why is they come up with products and price points that nobody in the world can afford except for industrialized markets like South Korea, like Japan, like the US, like all these countries that are grown up. Because this company was launched in Russia, the price points, the product, they're all affordable globally. And that's what I love about it. So let me get back to the story and I'll finish the story with Evangelia. She goes home and she says, how can I do this? And she starts getting rid of all the obstacles and makes her plan of how she's going to do it. And she is fearless. She doesn't care about no's. Why? Because she was the bag lady for many years in Ukraine. She had people laughing at her, telling her she was poor, ignoring her, marginalizing her. And when she tried to sell bags and they said no, she said next and moved to the next vendor. She took that same type of fire, the same type of passion into APO Go. Now I'm going to tell you, when she heard about APO Go, it was not her first company. It was her second company. She said that she dismissed it because they sound like ridiculous magical drops with magical properties. And she didn't want anything to do with it. What changed her mind is somebody was persistent with her. I don't know if she's diabetic, but she said that the NRM dropped her from like 18 to 8 or 28 to 8, whatever I don't remember the number. She said when she saw that and she could track it, she changed her mind about it and jumped into APO Go. Then she saw the comp plan and she was making 3 times what she was in her other company. So that's her story. I hope you don't, I'm glad that I got to share it with you. But when I read that, you guys, I get excited. I don't think about the buts and the whys. I think about how. So like Ralph sitting right in front of me in the screen. Ralph, I hope you're thinking, man, how can I change a couple of things around where I can do this? How am I going to do this? And that's really, I think, where we need to be focusing as well.
That's fantastic. And you know what? That leads me into the last thing I was going to talk to you about. So far, what we've seen too, which I know Ben Lemmer was out there, Paul was out there, my wife and I were out there for the Vegas event. There were some ladies that got on stage and gave their testimonies, probably I think a couple guys too, but mostly the ladies is what stood out to me, that didn't have any real network marketing success in their backgrounds, right? They had tried network marketing for many years. Give us just a couple examples. You don't have to name names necessarily. You can if you want to, of some of the people that you've seen that what this has done for them in a like 6-month period that you've already seen, what kind of life-changing things have happened for some of these people.
Well, early on, like with the product, some products take a hold quickly and some take a few weeks and some even take a few months. But if you keep popping those drops, you're going to get results. And I will add this, For me, it's been difficult because I love all forms of deliciousness. I like them all. So for me, it's really hard to track a specific product because I'm always like, ooh, grape, cherry, strawberry, Matt. I'm doing that constantly. But I will say that if you're able to focus on maybe a single box for a week or two in an issue that you want help with, that might be a good way to go so you can kind of have a clear understanding of what it's doing for your body. I noticed really on alt, one of the very first stories I heard was Matt Aio. That's how I think how you say his last name. He's been hiking for years, and he said, Kauri, I've been on this product for 3 days. My allergies are going away. I'm like, wow. Like everything was so new in the beginning. I was like, really? Oh, that's great. Really? That's awesome. Sarah Chabot had an issue, and I don't know exactly what it is, but it's a female issue she's had since she was 13. She got on PWR Apricot, and she said, Kauri, I went over to my specialist, and he said, what we've seen in the last 15 years, we don't see it anymore. What are you doing? I mean, those are kind of crazy stories, but they're happening. But I will say this, even if you can take 3 STPs to get rid of a migraine, that's huge, because most people need to take 2 Tylenols. So if you're taking a drop and you're like, well, I didn't really feel anything, take 2 or 3 drops. You can do that. I left a combo drop. Last night, I went out and ate Mexican food, and I had a couple of pina coladas. I didn't think anything of it, so I didn't take an ice. I woke up at 4 a.m. with the worst acid reflux, and I'm like, gosh, I'm getting old enough where I have to take ice every time, you know? So I got up and I popped 2 in the morning. At 2:12 in the morning, I took 2 ices. After that, I slept like a baby. It calmed my whole gut down, and that happens all the time. Now, from the money and the standpoint of the business, it was slow early on because we had to attract leaders that have faith in what we were doing. But as leaders got in and they started seeing how the comp plan paid, the stories started coming in. People typically make for their effort 2 or 3 times what they're making in other companies. That's, to me, a really safe estimate. So the stories all vary, Mike. I know you have your story. I love to tell your story about trying to get Mike to join me and Stacy, and how they kind of sat on the very first webinar. Stacy was like this, and I was like, man, I hope I'm not screwing up. You know, I have these thoughts, right? I hope I'm doing a good job. I hope I'm explaining it well. But at the end, I said, Mike, you need to join me, and I'm going to come from your future like a time machine and tell you, if you don't make a decision now, you're going to regret it. So come on. And I think maybe that helped Mike come in. Then 2.5 weeks later, I asked him, Mike, tell me about your check. Tell me what's happening. And what did you say, Mike?
You always ask me that. I was shocked actually to be how big it was right out of the gates. I was like, is this real? How is this possible? You know, because I hadn't put that many people in. And it was like literally what I've seen from the commission, the comp plan, is it seems like you can get, you know, with 25% of what you would normally have to have, you're making the same amount of money. It's that much larger because of the different ways that they pay. Like, I was just shocked.
Yeah, Mark Liu. Do you remember Mark Liu did the event that we did? He was in charge of the event. He sat
Yeah.
a bit. So Mark Liu signed up, right? And Mark was in a different company about 5-6 months ago. And he called me after his 4th day and said, I made more in 4 days than I did in a year and a half in my other company. And get this, in a year and a half, I hope Mark doesn't mind me sharing this. He invested over $120,000 into his team in his last company. And after a short period of time, he made more in APL Go than he did in his last company. And I love hearing those stories because it makes me want to go out and talk to more people, because I feel like I'm sharing good news. I feel like and Mike, our posture on these calls, when we talk to leaders, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this, we have a really strong posture because we have such a good company behind us. I don't need to apologize for anything. I can show off the fact that we pay out 68%, 63%. I can show off the fact that our price points are low and that people are having results. So I really feel like when you attach yourself to a rocket ship, you're going to go places. If you attach yourself to a slow moving ship, it's going to be a rough climb. And I'm so happy for all of us because we are all in a very great position today.
That's awesome. Well, Kauri, I know I try not to go too long on these things, about the same normal thing that I do. Thank you so much for jumping on here. Everybody, I know that everybody probably enjoyed that. Anybody got any questions for Kauri or anything like that, or just want to say thanks or wave at him or whatever?
Hey, just real quick, Kauri and Mike. been on a lot of different calls before, and the thing I love about you guys is the words that come up are realness, transparency. We've both been in the same company before, and Kauri, I remember when I met with you out in Vegas, that's one thing my wife and I loved about you, because of your realness and always being transparent. And that's why I love working with Mike. So just a comment, just a compliment. You can tell your energy, you can tell the realness. So thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Hey, Kauri. It's
Hi.
Susan Parker. How you doing?
Hi, Susan.
Good. Hey, kudos to Paul. I agree totally with him. But as you guys talked about getting our tools in order, I know we talked briefly last week, and I know you've been really busy. Any word on Spanish tools?
Yes. In fact, I just got an update 2 days ago. I'll get that to you.
Okay.
So what's been happening in the Spanish market is there are 4 market managers working that market, and there's a gentleman that's in charge of all of the marketing. So there are about 5 or 6 product videos that are done in Spanish.
Awesome.
And there's also another overall Spanish recorded presentation. The Spanish launch date that we see coming up is Cinco de Mayo, or the 5th of May. So on the 5th of May, the Spanish market's officially open. That is Ecuador, Peru, and Mexico. On tap, we have 3 other countries I won't mention right now, but we are getting materials done in Spanish. We will have Spanish calls. I think they'll start weekly if they're not already happening through the corporate side. They'll be doing those presentations. And we'll probably be heading down to the Spanish market soon as well to meet with your leaders. And I'll let you guys know when we're going down if you want to send people to meetings. Right now, we still have a COVID issue. But as that dissipates, we'll definitely let you guys know. And Mike and I are going to be doing some traveling globally in the next couple of months. And you're welcome. You guys are welcome to come with us. Tell us where your leaders are. Call us and say, I've got a big leader in this market, or I've got a friend in this market. They don't have to be big leaders. Friends in this market who have a desire. Let us get on a Zoom with them and talk to them. Because if you guys seen the movie Far and Away with Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise, in that movie, they're trying to do a land grab. All the Pioneer wagons are lined up and they say go, and everybody's on their horses getting out there. That's literally what's happening with this company. You want to get out as quickly as you can and stake your claim. You do that by talking to people, getting them to bind with you, to join you, and then we go from there. We go into those markets. The U.S. market is still huge. All the states are still available for us to build in. Global markets are important too, but I want to point out there's still a lot to do in our own backyards in the U.S. There's so many states where there's like 5 distributors. It's time here as well. So thanks for asking the question.
Just one more. Did you mention Colombia? Is that open yet?
Not, yeah, I think I did. Ecuador, Colombia, and Mexico City. No, Colombia's not. It's coming. Peru is.
Peru. Okay.
But you got Colombia out of me. It's coming, but not yet.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Anybody else? Are we good? We're going to let Kauri go. Bridget, did you going to say something?
I just want to say thank you. I was one of those people who did not want to ever do network marketing again. And it is true. Put something out on Facebook. I put a post out last week just saying, this was my experience, results, from a product basis. And I got a ton of people who reached out to me. Not everybody posted on there, but a lot of people reached out to me privately. There's definitely a lot of interest. Yeah. So put the word out, let people know.
Thanks, Bridget. It's fun to see you excited again about a model that we love, but we're like, man, I love it and I hate it. But when it works, when you find the right company, you guys, it's the hardest thing in the world to find a good company. But when you do it, you've got to take action, or you will. I'm going to come from your future. You're going to kick your own butt in 6 months from now. So go make it happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, guys, I got top of the hour. So I want to say thank you to everybody for jumping on here again. And make sure if you didn't have your team on here to make sure you tag them in this, send it to them, get them up to speed on everything. I'm probably going to download this and put it on my YouTube channel as well. So you can always, a lot of times you can find stuff on my YouTube channel. Just go to Mike Healy on YouTube. You'll find me. But we all good? Everybody good? Everybody ready to rock and roll? All right. We got another big week coming up. So let's keep pushing, get a strong month finishing out. And if you guys need anything, feel free to reach out to us. Thank you, Kauri, for being on here, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Have a good one.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks, Kauri.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Thank you.